I'm scared again. This is stupid. The reason why I haven't actually done this in such a long time is because it's actually
No,
stupid.
because it's scary and you're using it being stupid as an excuse to not do it because you're fucking scared right now. Scale of 1 to 10, how terrified are you?
I don't know. 7.
That's pretty fucking scary.
Because it's stupid.
Okay, but then
Nobody cares about this.
So if it's stupid, why is it scary?
Because nobody cares.
Why should that should make it less scary?
No, because, like, I'm gonna be wasting people's time, and then they're gonna be like, hey, you're wasting my time.
Are they? They will have decided to click on the video, and they will have potentially seen your previous video, so they will know if it's a waste of time or not. A lot of people have watched your videos, they clearly don't think it's a waste of time, and anyone that comments it's a waste of time wasted their own time clicking on the video that they didn't want to watch.
I just feel like it's actually stupid. Like, what I have to say here is really stupid.
You're telling your story.
But who cares about that?
You. Remember, even if it's just for you, you're still making it for you. Okay, go. Don't think about it, just do it. It's like jumping into a pool.
As a child, I was often told that the world didn't revolve around me, and that was confusing and painful. As I learned geography and later astronomy, I understood how that worked. The world revolved around the sun, not me. But my world revolved around staying safe. Within 5 years of my existence as a person beginning, I constantly had to protect myself without really even understanding what was scary or why it hurt. I didn't like some people, they gave me bad feelings. I didn't like going some places. I've always had trouble sleeping. I was sickly and needy and generally a nuisance, and I was told that often. I have to remind myself that the world doesn't revolve around me, and I do it a lot. It's easy with BPD and I'm sure other mental illnesses to forget what is reality and what isn't. Sometimes my pain engrosses me because I convince myself the world was created to be my own personal torture chamber. In moments like that, it helps to remind myself that the world doesn't revolve around me. In 2006, I moved schools. There was a boy who had been sexually harassing girls in my class, and the school and Department of Education didn't do anything about it, so my parents moved me to a small, all-girls school in a leafy suburb. My neighbor, who was also a close friend, went there, and I'd been to the school for a talent show. I thought it was beautiful, and I was ecstatic to move. Right before my move, my mom was driving me to school one morning, and we were running late. Being late for school was normal for me all throughout. I've never been a morning person. I always had a lot of anxiety in general, but that morning it was off the charts. When we were 5 minutes from the school, there was a thud and time froze for a bit. Someone had just hit the back of the car. I stayed inside, teary and in shock, while my mom did what grown-ups do when they have an accident. She got in and we spoke, but I don't remember what about. I couldn't stop crying. She pulled into the parking lot and told me she'd come inside to tell the school why I was late and see if they'd give me some sugar water. I told her I didn't want to go inside. She asked me why. I said I didn't know. She told me I was being ridiculous. I was performing. It probably looked like it. Car accidents are scary, but I was crying like I was devastated. I can't remember how it came out, but somehow I told her about the boy and what he'd been doing. I begged her to let me go home with her. I didn't want to be in a room with him ever again. I think I stayed in the car and she went to talk to someone inside the school. I remember sitting alone with my thoughts. Now I'll have to talk about it. You selfish idiot, you're making this up. You just want to go home. You're lazy. You're going to be in so much trouble. What if this leads to me talking about the other things, the other people who behave like this, who do these things? I'm going to be strangled. You're going to get him in trouble and he's your friend. We're friends, right? We hang out in my mom's car after school and we listen to music together and he tells me things about his life. I can't betray him like this. I'm a terrible, selfish person. I'm going to hell. What came after that was a terrible time. It could have been days or weeks or months, I don't remember. I had to retell the story. To teachers, to disbelieving relatives, to the principal. Each time they'd question me and I'd have to rehash the details. He rubbed his penis on the back of her head and told her the snake wants to come out and play. It was in his pants. She laughed. That was just one incident and there were many more, but nobody else had come forward to talk about it. My self-loathing intensified. The girls he harassed always laughed or brushed it off. They didn't seem to see the sinister nature of what was happening. It was like I was the only one who knew what he was doing, or the only one who would see it. So was I making it up? Eventually, I went back to school, but as a spy. Or at least that's how it was sold to me, because the last thing I wanted in the world was to go back to school. I knew I'd be questioned about where I'd been, and I felt like I didn't have friends. I didn't want to spend time with the boy anymore because I was betraying him, and the girls were regular 11-year-old girls. I was always on the outside. I was armed with a notebook and pencil, instructed to jot down anything I deemed inappropriate. After one day, I had at least a page. I don't remember how long I took notes for, but at some point I confided in the one girl I thought I could trust. She was friends with the cool girls, but she invited me to her house instead of them because our houses were closer in size. It wasn't long before the whole class knew I was taking notes about the boy. Everyone had a question for me, which was new. I really garnered attention. I think I just kept denying it until I got taken out again and could stay at home until the new term started at my new school. I think the boy eventually got expelled, but it took months of governing body hearings, and I was already well adjusted in a new, welcoming, comfortable school that I loved. I had no hard feelings about leaving anyone behind, because the last time I confided in my closest friend, the room turned into 20-something 11-year-olds holding a witch trial. This has all made me wonder if I was truly the only person who could see what he was doing, because I'd already been exposed to so much I shouldn't have been. Maybe the girls laughed because they really didn't see the sexual nature of what was happening. Maybe at 11 the world had already told them to shut up and smile. I had forgotten all of this had happened until a few years ago when I was sorting papers for my dad and I found printed copies of his emails with the school. I knew at the time why I switched schools, but eventually it sort of felt like I'd just been at my new school forever and the past didn't really matter anymore. The day my mom had the car accident, having feelings about the accident made me open up enough for the secret I'd been harboring to spill through. I spent a lot of time thinking I'd made it up so I could go home that day, but I think when people are told their feelings aren't important or valid, there sometimes needs to be a catalyst. The worst part is you can't know what you don't know, and your brain will beat you at hide and seek every single time it thinks you're not ready to find something yet. It took someone hitting the back of the car to jolt me into a place where I could acknowledge what had been happening as reality and somehow find a way to verbalize it. I didn't even realize until I was telling my mom about it that what was happening had been affecting me. I didn't even realize that I needed to tell her until she dragged it out of me. It's easy to brush people and their feelings off. I know because I've been brushed off a lot. I hope this story is comforting to other people who block things out without even realizing it, and I hope the people who are affected by them can see it's really not in their control. As I get older and spend more time being introspective, I do completely believe taking responsibility for one's actions is the most important thing you can do. But everyone should know that you cannot control what you can't even acknowledge, and you can't acknowledge anything until you are ready.